Jewish Channel's Week in Review. After President Obama visits Cairo and Buchenwald, the left-right arguments commence. Is one of the most well-known Jewish politicians a Holocaust denier? The conservative movement's much-anticipated ethical supervision gets ready for prime time. Plus, one Jewish society encourages young Jews to enjoy cigars and scotch, while another organization gathers for a Shabbat dinner in Central Park. And more of the Jewish news that's changing your world in this webcast version of the Week in Review. Hello, and welcome to the Jewish Channel's Week in Review. I'm Stephen I. Weiss. Well, left, right, or center, wherever you are on the political spectrum, you've probably got something to say about President Barack Obama's speeches in Cairo and Buchenwald. The inevitable back and forth over the details of the president's message about Israel and Iran also has those on either side of the aisle debating the role of the Holocaust in today's politics. For the full breakdown of the reaction to President Obama, please check out the broadcast version of the Week in Review. Concerns about Israel have been on everyone's minds these days, and one organization is seeking to chart a new path for Israel's future. The Jewish National Fund has been a major force in making Israel what it is for decades, and is the organization most Jews know of for planting trees in Israel. Trying to reach out to a younger crowd, they've been producing events under the moniker JNF Future, and our own Christian Needon got the scoop from their latest.
A new generation of Israel funders turned out last Friday night to celebrate Shabbat in Central Park. The event was thrown by the JNF's JNF Future initiative and was held in Sheep's Meadow under a white tent and rainy weather. Among the more than 250 attendees was New York Governor David Paterson, who surprised the audience with a family revelation.
I'd like to just establish my credibility. I'll let you know that in 2007, I took part in the NPR series African Lives, in which my DNA was tested, and there were 2 hits for ancestors of mine who lived in the 1st century in Eastern Europe who were of Jewish descent. So now that you know that, I bid you. Now that you know that, I bid you Shabbat Shalom.
For the full story on JNF Future, including how politics may be shaping the organization, check out the broadcast version of the Week in Review.
Thank you, Christian. Of course, that wasn't the only gathering of young Jews. For one without any political message at all, but a shared love of cigars, chocolate, and whiskey, Margie Rauhut reports.
It's an extravagant scene, with Jewish young professionals engaging in a hedonism of the mouth. The Kosher Wine Society regularly hosts wine tastings, but decided to spice things up by offering event-goers some new indulgences to pair with fine wines.
The wine, chocolate, and cigar event. And then I was like, well, we got to add scotch to that mix because it's just not fun enough.
Both men and women were in attendance, but there was definitely a disproportionate number of men, which, at least for one woman, made it an ideal singles event.
So I'm here because whiskey and cigars equals abundance of men.
To see more of the indulgences and hear what experts have to say about the future of Israeli wine, see the full broadcast version of the Week in Review.
Thank you, Margie. Trying to be mindful of what kosher consumers put in their mouths is not just about cigars and scotch. What goes into making the kosher food that's available has been one of the major dividing lines between Orthodox and conservative leaders after last year's agri-processor scandal. The conservative movement is getting ready to launch its biggest initiative, and Rebecca Honig-Friedman got the inside story.
Just a few months and about $150,000 stand between the conservative movement's leadership and the official launch of the first comprehensive ethical seal for kosher food manufacturers, the Magen Tzedek. It's a project that Rabbi Julie Schoenfeld sees as
creating an evolution in kashrut for the 21st century, to say that what Jewish tradition means for us is that to be kosher is not only to eat food that is keeping with Judaism's very clearly laid out ritual standards, but it is also to eat food that has been prepared in keeping with Judaism's clear ethical standards for us.
For more on the Magen Tzedek, including the Orthodox Union's response, please check out the broadcast version of the Week in Review.
Thank you, Rebecca. An auction of Judaica from high-net-worth individuals took place this week. Christian Needon was there.
Antiques, heirlooms, and other valuable Judaica were all up for sale Monday evening as Jay Greenstein and Company held an auction at the Radisson Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. There's a glut in high-end Judaica these days, as the economic downturn and Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme have left many Jewish collectors in need of cash.
Well, I can't attribute any lot except 2 of them directly connected to Bernie Madoff. Our average auction is 130 lots. This auction is 224 lots. There's been an upsurge of almost 33% of things that have been coming to auction. A lot more people are parting with a lot more things.
And that can mean that some heirlooms are going on the auction block.
One of the collections that we're offering here is from an 88-year-old man, a very sweet, kind soul, that I'm sure would have loved to give the collection to his children and his grandchildren, but is forced to part with it in his old age because he needs the money.
For more from the auction, including anti-Semitic canes and Sammy Davis Jr.'s menorah, watch the broadcast version of the Week in Review.
Finally, is Dov Hikind a Holocaust denier? That's what the blog Jew School had to say about the Orthodox Jewish New York State Assemblyman who objected to the inclusion of non-Jewish victims in a Holocaust memorial. In addition to the 6 million Jews killed by the Nazis, as many as 11 million other civilian victims were in other groups targeted, including homosexuals, gypsies or Romanis, and the disabled. The memorial in question is to be placed at a Holocaust memorial park in Brooklyn. Hikind said he wouldn't object to a separate memorial for non-Jewish victims and told the New York Post, "These people are not in the same category as Jewish people with regards to the Holocaust. It is so vastly different. You cannot compare political prisoners with Jewish victims." Hikind is himself the child of a survivor of Auschwitz. As to the memorial, the more diverse language was approved, with many political leaders and Jewish organizations in support. New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who is also Jewish, said of the memorial, "Diversity is something we want emphasized, not de-emphasized." That's all for this week's webcast version of the Week in Review. For the full broadcast version of the Week in Review, please check out the Jewish channel on cable. For more news and analysis during the week, please visit us on the web at newsdesk.tjctv.com. From all of us here at the Jewish channel, be well. The Jewish channel is available on cable: IO Optimum Cable Channel 291, Time Warner Cable Channel 528, Verizon Fios Channel 900, and Cox Cable Channel 1. For more information, visit tjctv.com.